Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, your Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. So this is Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1, right? Because that day of reckoning, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai is about to put forth in the earth, right? Starting with his son, Yahweh Shai. This is the prophecies is the spirit of Yahweh Shai, and this is prophecy, right? It says, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. See, and this is the will of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His real name is Yahweh Shai. This is his will, right? Because he is the spirit of prophecy. And this is prophecy is about to play out very soon. Saying we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So we're going to have many women, our women, and the women of the other nations. Yes, we will have concubines, right? These are it's set up through the spirit of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, man, right? We will have our women. They will no longer be our enemy, right? In that day, right? Because Esau is going to show his horns. Hey, you're going to know. Only let us be called by thy name, right? We're the men of the Lord, the elect men of the Lord, Lord willing, I'll be of that number, or is your only way out, right? Right? Just like Yahweh Shai is our only way out, right? No, there's only one way, right? The narrow gate, and it's going to get very narrow, right? This is 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 12, and David perceived that Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai have established him, right? And that's the time we're gonna come in too. We're gonna perceive, right, through the chaos, through all the calamity, the things you're gonna perceive that, hey, the Lord must have established you, right, which really don't guarantee you that, but it's definitely an indicator the Lord is allowing miracles, right? But the Lord did say you have to endure until the end, because who knows if some people don't get puffed up and you never know. You gotta. Hey, the Lord said, "He who endured to the end." That's just that. It has to be. That's just what it is. And him establish him king, right? The Lord basically said that we're a nation of kings and priests, man, right? Over Israel, right? And the Lord is going to set us up over Israel, starting with Yahweh Shai. King David, which King David is part of the 12, which he said 12 thrones shall judge the children of Israel. And King David is, that main throne, which was Peter, right? To judge the children of Israel. And then you have the 144,000 after that governing body, And, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is basically bringing forth that, man, and it says, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people, right? Which that's what's happening right now. The Lord is exalting the kingdom of David, which is Yasha Allah, which is the kingdom of Yahushai, which is the kingdom of David, which is the kingdom of Yasha Allah, or kingdom of Israel by default, right? Because Yahushai is an Israelite, King David is an Israelite, So by default, you as Israelites, hey man, we get to receive, and the elect, right? The elect are Israelites. So and you're gonna bring forth children. So hey man, and the Lord's gonna exalt the kingdom for his people, Israel's sake, right? And that's what's happening right now, right? So we're gonna have plenty of women, right? 7 women should take hold of one, and 7 meaning what? Completion, right? Doesn't mean only 7 women. It could be 7, 70, or 700, right? It depends on the number, or depends on the blessing that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai gives you, right? Continuing on, 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 13, and David took him more concubines and wives, right? And that's the time that we're about to come into, man, especially in the kingdom, but even now, right? That thing is about to happen on this side, man, through the calamities that's about to befall upon this earth, right? The humbling of you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian women, and these heathen women, man. A lot of women are going to get humbled in this day, man. Right? And David took him more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born unto David, right? Saying, we're going to have plenty of children, right? It tells you that the women shall be saved through childbearing, man, right? In the scriptures. So you got to have plenty of women, man. The Lord said he's going to bring forth a nation, right? A small one, a small man, which not meaning he's small, but just saying, one man shall bring forth a nation, right? How can he do that with one wife, right? Matter of fact, so this is Isaiah chapter 60, verse 21. It says, thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, right? That's what's coming, forever, right? The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. And this is how the Lord's going to be glorified, showing you that this is the spirit of Yahushai, right? Because the spirit of Yahushai is prophecy. This is prophecy, right? If our women are still our enemies, right? That ain't gonna work, right? Our women can't be our enemy anymore. So you got to humble them. Things are gonna have to happen. They're gonna occur. That's gonna humble these women. That 7 women should take hold of one man, and that's the atrocities that's about to happen. It says, a small one shall become 1,000, right? One man, a small man, should become 1,000, right? And a small one, a strong nation. See, you're talking about one man should be 1,000, another man should be a nation. So that depends on how many wives you have, right? One man have 7 wives, the other man has 70 wives, the other man has 700 wives, right? You know? And I, Yahweh, will hasten it in his time, right? And that's what the Lord is doing. He's shortening the days and the time right about now, right? These are the times that's about to come. The conflict is about to happen, right? Raise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece. Hey, and it's going to be calamities, death, destruction within these streets, right? So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is got to be with us, man, to forward Israel, man, right? That's why he said his hands, plural, may be glorified, man. And there's no glory in us being dead, right? There's no glory if there's no Israelites, right? So hey, it's gonna happen, right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 14 through 15. NIV, Salakia, NIV says, you will be blessed more than any other people. None of your men or women will be childless, right? So, this is, Deuteronomy, right? This was, the Lord was speaking this before we were getting ready to go into the land, right? But then there were a bunch of unbelieving Israelites, so they spent another 40 years in the desert wandering, and then though that generation didn't circumcise, which this would have to be a future prophecy, being that the Lord even told Moses that the nation of Israel will go off and not serve him. And, of course, all the curses of Deuteronomy 28 will fall upon them, right? Which that happened. So this would have to be a future prophecy. It says, nor will any of your livestock be without young. Verse 15, Deuteronomy 14, verse 15 it says, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will keep you free from every disease, right? So we're here in Babylon the Great, right? Which is the daughter of Babylon, also spiritually known as Egypt, right? Which this place has gave us diseases. They didn't keep us from diseases, right? And they even gave us the diseases that's not in the book, according to Deuteronomy 28, right? Because that's what the Lord said was going to happen to us. That even the things that were not in the book, or the things that were not in Egypt, the things that we were afraid of, the diseases that we were afraid of, that he would give us even in this time. You're talking, gout, diabetes, HIV, HPV, right? Cancers, drug addictions, crack, heroin, right? All these things that Esau given us in this lifetime, right? He will not afflict on you the horrible diseases you knew in Egypt, right? And this place is what? Spiritual Egypt. But he will afflict them on all who hate you, right? And that didn't happen in the time that the Israelites went into the kingdom, right? You didn't hear about a bunch of diseases just hitting the entire world, because the entire world have had their hand on enslaving or touching or coming against the Israelites. That didn't happen. So this would have to be a future prophecy, starting with spiritual Egypt, America, Babylon the Great, right? So we will have our women and our children, right? And we will not be afflicted with diseases anymore. But that's going to start right now on this side, right? Because a small one shall become a nation. It's talking about a man, right? You may think he's insignificant, but according to the Most High, he's important. He's a man. What is more precious than fine gold? Matter of fact, let's get that. Right? Isaiah chapter 13, verse 12. At the end of the day, what a man, right? Right? And not just any man, right? We're talking about an elect man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Even though it said small, right? You may think he's insignificant, but according to the prophecy and according to what the Most High Yahweh through His Son ordained to be in earth as it is in heaven, right? Right? Those spirits that were made, that was created before the foundation of the world, right? And I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? Which that's the gold that's here in America, right? Which which the Lord put it in the hearts of these Edomites to basically take the gold and take it out of America. That's why Trump nor Elon Musk could go into Fort Knox and prove that there was any gold there, right? Because they had been took it out, because they know that this place is about to be, rained down with hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. So the Lord set it in these devils' heart to remove that fine gold from here, which the Lord is going to set up so He can remove the fine gold, which is the men, right, on that fathership in the time of the desolation of this nation, right, which is the hypersonic ICBM missiles, right, along with the race wars, the famine, the death, and the pestilence. The Lord was going to protect His men, right, the elect. Right? And that's going to be precious to you women. That's why you're going to come and say, let us be called by your name. Right? That's why I'm going to get this right here. It says, 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, notwithstanding, she shall be saved, right? So what does that mean? Saved means to be saved from impending doom, from destruction. Once we be in the kingdom, the Lord said that we should be safe, right? Right? You're going to be safe. You're not going to be worried about being destroyed in the kingdom. You're going to be safe. So what does this mean? This is talking about on this side. That's why she said, because she would only let us be called by thy name, that it will take away our reproach, right? These 7 women, which basically doesn't mean 7 just meaning completion, right? It says, notwithstanding, she shall be saved, right? From what? Destruction, right? From a reproach, right? Obviously so, right? She shall be saved in childbearing, meaning that's going to happen on this side, right? Not the madness that Bishop Nate be talking about, man. Right? On this side, she should be saved. Through what? Childbearing, which you're going to have more than one wife on this side. Through childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety, which you ain't gonna have a choice but to be sobriety in that day, because what? All things are gonna be cut off in that day, man. Right? But you're gonna need to be saved, right? Which that sobriety is meaning basically basically not with that feminism mentality, right? You're going to have a mind that, hey, you're going to have to share. You're going to have to share your man. You're going to have no feminism all about me, and, this type of attitude, right? That's ultimately what it is, man. That you're going to have, it's going to be a sober mentality, right? So this is Proverbs chapter 27, verse 27. It says, and thus shall have goat's milk enough for thy food, for the food of thy household, and for the maintenance, Lakia, of thy maidens, right? So you're gonna have women, right? Plenty of women, man. You have your wives and more wives, man, concubines and all, right? You're gonna have more than just one wife, unlike Bishop Nate be saying, right? We're talking about that time of calamity, because why would a woman needs to be saved? Why would she need to have a reproach taken away from her when the Lord said in the kingdom, we should be safe. The world, it should be quiet, right? None of us shall be afraid. Israel should not be afraid, right? We're going to be, like Apostle Hart says, we're going to be, superhuman men and superhuman women, man. We're going to be godlike men and godlike women, having godlike children, right? So why would we need to be afraid? So this is talking about this time where you're gonna be afraid, and we're gonna worry about where your what is it called, your substance is coming from. But the Lord said, don't worry, don't fret, and thou shalt have enough goat's milk, enough for thy food, and for the food of thy household, and for the maintenance for thy maidens, right? So we're going to have plenty of women, plenty of children. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. And the Lord is going to elevate us starting now, because why? The curses are falling upon our enemies now, right? And we will have our women back. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akhwathiim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson, Kwam Yasharala, and a Baba Ball.